Hello, welcome to This Week in Japan. I'm the Gaijin John.
I'm the Geek Tom.
And together we bring you news from around the land of the rising sun to make you happy. Just you, listener. I'm sure you appreciate
it. There is only one of you at any given time anyway, so...
Yeah, it's like, I think I've said this before, it's like a library book. So one person listens to the podcast, and then like when you try and listen to it, it goes, no, it's out, please wait. And then like so when you do listen to it, you have to like give it back, and then someone else can check out the podcast.
Yeah, by the way, whoever's got episode 38 at the moment, you really need to return it. You're like 3 months overdue. The fine's racking up. I don't know how to actually send you the fine at the moment, but once I figure it out, you're in for a nightmare there, laddie or lassie.
By the way, when someone says, "Oh, that's an insane thing to do with a piece of online media," guess what my university did for a huge amount of the books I had to read in third year? They could not be read by more than one person at any given time.
What a stupid system.
It was insane. But regardless, it's time for today's show, which includes dancing fairy cats, a very high hairstyle, a very spitty feud, a deconstructed pizza, and let's remove those lines that cause the power. Japan's vaccination numbers are going in a direction, and what kind of time makes a manga? To see if any of that makes sense, you're going to have to listen to the rest of the show. Woo. But to start it off, Thomas, we have Cute Corner, as always.
Aww. As always.
Ah, it's nice. This week, we are heading to Odoriba Station, which is in Izumi Ward, Yokohama City, which is a bit near Tokyo. Odoriba translates to dancing place. Dun, 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 dun. But Thomas,
John,
this was somewhere where not humans danced, but cats. And the cats here...
Everybody wants to be a cat.
They want to be these magical changing cats called Bakeneko. Magical cats. They are not jellicle cats, but they might be jellicle cats. I'm not really sure what makes a jellicle cat. I have yet to be informed of this.
I think we have several experts in the field who also do not know what a jellicle cat actually is, other than not a dog.
Bakeneko literally translates to changed cats, and basically their superpower, as it were, is to dance and talk like humans, which is also a pretty superpower. I can do that. It's like, woo. I know, can you...
You might be overstating your dancing skills, but you're right on the talking bit, John.
Sorry, I'm just imagining it's like, oh no, it's this monster of the week in this new shonen anime or whatever. What can it do? It can talk and dance. Is it a murder dance? No, just a dance. It just dances.
It just looks a cat should not be on its hind legs at any point. Just kill it, please. Make it go away.
So basically, the train station, when it was built, was basically set up to like be decorated and look like bits of cats. So for one example, the roof of one of the exits to the underground station has little cat ears. I will show.
Of course it does. Of course, I should have expected nothing less from Japan to just slap.
It's
cat
little
ears
window
on
cat
everything.
ears. Little window cat.
Let's have a look at it. Oh, it's actually like part of the architecture. It's not like for some reason I was expecting like just two black bits of plastic.
No, it's not wearing.
Top.
It's not wearing
No,
a cat ear headband, Thomas. They don't make them for buildings.
You say that now, but wait for next week in Japan, where it's like, so guess what? They make cat ear headbands for buildings.
Well, they just have some decorations, which are like little cats just over stuff. One thing that I think is really cute is like on the floor, they have little paw prints. Like going up the walls as well and along the floors. The cleaning crew must absolutely hate it. That's what they do to all the newbies. It's like, oh, can you get rid of all these paw prints? He's been there for 12 hours. But yeah, so they go to show you which way to go up and down the stairs. They have little paw prints on them. And also the skylights have little dancing cats in them.
I'm not sure how I feel about cats doing the Thriller dance. Not only is it somewhat of a dated reference now, sorry, anyone who's over the age of 20, but it is unnerving. I mean, it's supposed to be unnerving because the dancers are supposed to be zombies, but like zombie dancing cats, that's where I draw the line.
Well, they're not zombies. By the way, there are also two giant eyes that are made to look like cats, which are slightly terrifying. However, the story goes that there was a family who owned a soy sauce shop. Say that 3 times fast. And their little hand towels started to disappear. Until one night, the store owner heard some music nearby and went to investigate it. And he discovered a number of cats talking like humans with the little, towels wrapped around their head. Including the family's own cat, who was guiding the cats in their dance. Well, after the wife heard the story from her husband, she put a new little, towel on the tabby cat every night and washed it when it became dirty. The reverence for cats in this area and their activities were honoured with a memorial to pacify the spirits. This memorial dates back to 1737, so this is a pretty old story.
Damn, son. That's an old-ass rock.
With also that waving cat that you cannot escape anywhere. But yeah, so that's the very cute place of Odoriba Station. I believe there might have been still a soy sauce shop if you wanted to go there to buy soy sauce, but however, that might be gone now.
Yeah, they ran out of business after cats kept stealing all the hand towels. Couldn't work anymore because they had no hand towels to clean anything with. So they're just going around with increasingly filthy hands until they couldn't work anymore.
Yeah, in COVID, that's not okay. It's another business dying to COVID. COVID regulations.
And cats.
Yeah, and cats.
Damn cats.
But the thing is, what's not cool, cats, is crime. It's on to Crime Corner. Oh dear. Well, now it's time for foreigner crime, because as a foreigner in Japan, if you hadn't noticed, it is legally my responsibility to talk about all crime done by foreigners. Which, as the Japanese police would state it, all crime. But this one was done by an American English teacher. Because of course it was. This is a 43-year-old male English teacher who is suspected of smuggling and trafficking cannabis oil. Would you like to guess how he smuggled, or at least attempted to smuggle, or allegedly smuggled this cannabis oil?
It's gotta be up the butt, John. It's gotta be up the butt. If it's anything other than up the butt, I'm disappointed.
Think opposite side of the body, because he might have been smuggling cannabis oil inside hair oil bottles.
Well, that's not going to fit up your butt. How's that going to work?
Thomas,
Wrong shape.
No butt.
I don't understand.
So this man, who is an Eikaiwa teacher, so a conversation school teacher, so he's not like me. He's not a proper assistant language teacher. And he was arrested at a hotel in Ibaraki Prefecture in April, and he was found with about 2 kilograms of cannabis oil hidden inside hair treatment bottles. Apparently he was suspected of receiving the parcel of smuggled goods at the hotel and of planning to ship it out. Apparently then, when they searched his home, they found 5 more kilograms of cannabis oil. That's a lot. That's a lot. So, and if you would like to know how much a lot is a lot, that 7 kilograms of cannabis oil can't really be for personal use, because it is worth 280 million yen. That is about $2.5 million.
It's quite a lot.
To be clear, you cannot afford that on a English teacher's salary in Japan. Just if people were thinking of just like, maybe the foreigners are just paid really well. No, apparently he's suspected of being a part of a larger organisation. But this, of course, caused people to be angry at Americans and general foreigners, because, of course, they do.
Any excuse.
Exactly. But yes, so people are wondering whether he was regardless of the criminality of like cannabis and hash oil and things, there are ongoing investigations into someone with that much oil. So much oil. That was a very foreigner crime in Japan, drugs. God forbid that Japanese people do drugs. But now it is...
Japanese people, notoriously averse to cannabis in all forms. Definitely none of them ever do it ever. How could they even dream of it?
Now, one thing that has happened, though, is there have been Japanese people spitting at each other. I will just read you the headline. Osaka man charged with spitting in front of the same pickle shop for most of 2020. So this
he spat in front of a pickle. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
So this feels like a side character from something like Nichijou or something. This is like a side character from a comedy manga who you just see in the background every single time. Apparently this started all the way back in the autumn of 2019. I was fresh-faced off the boat in Japan. I had literally just arrived. And
they were already starting to spit.
Yeah.
The spitting had already begun. Little did you know, John.
So apparently a food shop owner and a customer got into a dispute over a point card issued by the shopping arcade. So like a card is like... Everyone here knows what a points card is. I was going to try and explain it. It's like, no. Though this wasn't made clear what was happening, but the customer was displeased. And to express this, he then returned to the store several times a month, uttering curses at the store and then spitting on the walkway in front of him. This then occurred reportedly from January through to October of 2020, during the coronavirus pandemic. Hey man.
This man had one goal in mind, and he was not going to stray from his path.
Well, one thing that might have led him to stray is due to the fact this September, like after a large amount of like the COVID like protocols were happening in Osaka, the shop owner finally confronted the man, and the man was charged with assault. When the shop owner had repeatedly called the police, he'd said to them it was unhygienic with the growing COVID-19 problem, and the stress of repeatedly telling the man to stop was too much to bear. Stop! Regardless, the police decided to conduct a stakeout in front of the pickle shop, and they then witnessed the man spit twice on the ground. They then arrested...
Twice?
I know, he was prepared. He came prepared.
Here's one I made earlier.
Though the man denies the charges, saying, I spit, but only because it came out when I coughed. It's also established this guy was therefore not wearing a mask either. Or, it's even worse, this guy pulled down his mask to cough.
Yeah, this is not a good excuse. But I don't think any of us are going to pretend that it was even remotely entertainable.
So the man was ultimately charged with crimes on the 31st of May, after it was deemed that the spitter's actions were highly malicious.
Yeah, that's how I'd describe it.
However, for this crime, which is under the Minor Crimes Act, he could get between 1,000 and a 10,000 yen fine, which is a little between $9 and $90, or up to 30 days in jail. It's just, that man has so much free time.
I mean, he's over 60.
I know, but still, okay, cool. Yes, it's just all 60-year-olds end up. Yeah, no, actually, that makes sense. Don't pee off the 60-year-olds that just come by and spit in front of your house during an international pandemic and curse you because you didn't honour their point card. Oh dear.
Just be glad they didn't get the whole bingo club coming with them.
Well, they might just go and buy the pickles. They're like, I've spit. My mouth's dry. Then you know what I need? Pickles. Maybe it was all a triple twist, a quadruple twist. It's very twisty.
I certainly can't wrap my head around it anymore.
And you know what I can't wrap my head round? This week's snack break. So Thomas,
John,
we had some fun a couple of weeks ago with bacon-flavoured cheese string.
Oh yes, I remember.
And so I thought perhaps, so Japan does like sets of cheeses that you can just buy, like little squares, like snack cheese. Sometimes they've got bits of salami in them. Sometimes they've got bits of sometimes they've got bits of pepper in them. Sometimes they've got they're just kind of flavoured. I think some have nuts in. Some are like sometimes sweet. And so I was like, can I find the weirdest cheese? And I came across one. I was like, no. Because, Thomas, you might be used to cheese on pizza, but are you used to pizza in cheese? I am holding up a stick of pizza-flavoured cheese.
Okay, pizza. Okay, cool. You're gonna have to take the lead on this one, John. I don't know how to respond.
By the way, there were two kinds of this pizza-flavoured cheese. I chose to get the margarita pizza-flavoured cheese. I think the other one was like pepperoni pizza-flavoured cheese. But
the only two pizza flavors.
So people might think, it's just like some mozzarella. No. The packaging is very clear. I might try and upload it online, but then again, it is just some squares of cheese. But no.
Well, they gotta have the tomato sauce in there, obviously. I'm wondering if they include the crust in some
I doubt it. I think it is just flavoured. So they show a picture of what it looks like on the bottom there. It's just...
That does look like cheese.
It's just orangey cheese. This is, of course, from our friends at Nippon Ham. Friends or enemies, we do not know yet. Yeah, so it is orange. And it has specks of something in it. I'm not sure what.
Flavor. Pizza flavor, John. It's little speck. Okay, yeah. It's just little black spots in your cheese. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine.
It does actually smell vaguely of pizza, which I'm worried about.
That's a good start, at the very least.
Okay, I'm going to, cross-section it. No, these are just, little black specks. There's nothing else in here. So I assume that's seasoning. Anyway, there's only one way to find out what pizza-flavored cheese tastes like. Itadakimasu. That's really accurate. Oh my... What? I want people to imagine at home, it's like that bit from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when it's a 3-course meal that's like a piece of chewing gum. I'm eating this slightly squishy, slightly soft, square of cheese. And it tastes like I'm eating a margarita pizza. How? Like, you get...
When does the tomato soup kick in?
No, you get the tomatoey flavour first, and then you get, like, the bready, like, cheesy flavour. Like, the bready, like, margarita pizza flavour. It's insane! Right. There's the tomato. Yeah, and there's the kind of bready, like, almost crusty bit.
The snozzberries, they really do taste like snozzberries.
That's insane. This is magic. What have they done?
You did it again, Japan. God damn you. You insane little motherfucker.
I'm just shocked. I am literally speechless. But no.
Put it down on the record, guys. We have a good snack break.
I was just like, oh, that'll be done. I'm like, oh, it's just like squares and mozzarella. No. How dare you?
You fool. You absolute amateur. Have you learnt nothing? Nothing.
So you should be able to find some kind of picture of this on my Instagram at the Gaijin John. If you want to know, it's just cheese. It's a square of cheese that for some reason tastes like pizza. I don't know what is right anymore. I don't know which way is down.
See, the only thing left to do now is put the pizza-flavoured slices of cheese on top of your pizza.
Oh, God.
And then just have a sort of pizza-ception type scenario. I guess you need another flavour for pizza before it goes like full Inception.
Well, because it's Japan, you just put mayonnaise on top of that pizza. They do it, and it's spring.
I forget about that, and every time you mention it, I'm just like, whoa, no.
Yeah.
I think we could put aside our pineapple-based differences, so we could all agree that mayo probably should not be on pizza.
Yeah,
like, it's probably fine, but it also probably shouldn't be.
I will say it goes with a tuna and sweet corn pizza. I will say that a tuna and sweet corn pizza with mayo on it goes all right.
Mayonnaise. The question then is, should a tuna and sweet corn pizza exist, and is that considered a war crime?
No, it's nice.
Gonna have to disagree with you.
I might just be more...
You're going to pizza jail.
I might just be more open to things because I just ate a cube of cheese that tastes like an entire pizza. So...
The ball is in your court on that front. You've got me stumped there.
But here we go. Moving onwards, just quickly to say, Japan's vaccine numbers are rising. Yay! But we're not going to talk about them or the Olympics right now because we need a break talking about it. Because, dear God, do I need a break from all this stuff? But no.
If you're wondering, it's still mostly the same. You're not missing out on any new information. It's, oh God, all the time.
Vaccine numbers are rising, though, and they did almost 1 million vaccinations in one day at one point. So that's going really, really well. However, this country is hosting the Olympics in 2 months, and most sources say it's extremely unlikely that those under the age of 65 will be able to get any kinds of vaccines before then. However, 90% of the athletes from Japan are going to be vaccinated. So, we're not talking about this part because it just makes me sad. Guess what? Not a lot of athletes over the age of 65. Who'd have think? But we're going to talk about something that's a little bit more iconic for people who've come to visit Japan, and something that people will notice if they do come to visit Japan in the future, and that is overhead power lines.
So many power lines.
I mean ridiculous amounts of power lines. They are one of the first things you notice in a Japanese city, that wherever you walk, there are multiple power lines all overhead. And especially in a country like the UK, where almost all of that is underground, it feels very weird. It feels very, like... It does feel very retro. It makes the cities feel much more kind of like almost 1980s-esque, as it were. But they're also horrible. They dominate the landscape, like the huge like metal towers of it. I cycle to school going outside of a city through 2 mountains, and on top of like bits of the mountains are just these huge like are the huge like towers of cables. It's ridiculous. And you also might note that for a country that is full of earthquakes, typhoons, tsunamis, that like huge overhead cables open to the elements, probably not the best idea in the world. Basically, the Japanese government agree, but it costs money to change. Oh, money. But now, the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism have announced they plan to eliminate 4,000 kilometres of overhead power cables by 2025. Their priority will be areas around roads that help to transport goods in case of emergency situations. Basically, so massive-ass cables can't end up blocking the roads. Which is kind of a good idea.
Smart.
And helps like the landscape look nice. However, this is slightly counteracted by the fact that they put up 70,000 new utility poles every year.
Of course.
The government says they will be interacting with power companies to try and bring this number down and seek alternatives. That sounds like the Japanese government to me, which is like, we will endeavour to do our best. We will try to try.
We'll have a nice friendly chat with our mates over at the electric companies, and we'll see if they're feeling like it today. They're probably not, but we'll just ask. Just to see if they're like, oh yeah, maybe we'll install fewer power cables this year. Who knows?
Yeah, so there are a couple of counter arguments to this, including the fact that after earthquakes, they might be hard. If they are damaged, it might be slightly more difficult to restore power. However, I'm not an expert and I don't know anything about it. Though I assume if they can make buildings that are earthquake resistant, they can make wires that are earthquake resistant. Who'd have thought? I have no idea. Though, hopefully some more will come down over the next few years. And that is only a positive in my eyes. Yay. Sorry, that is my, thing. Is something me and my dad noticed when we came to Japan. We were trying to notice, why does all the cities look weird? There are massive amounts of electricity running over our head all the time. I'm used to having that under me. Thank you very much.
That makes me feel safe and secure. Thank you, Japan.
So, lastly today, slightly shorter episode, we are going... Well, depends how long we talk about this bit. We are going to talk about the wonderful manga creator Rumiko Takahashi. Because you might know that we both love manga. I specifically love manga. I read all of Black Clover in about a week. It was really good. And Thomas has finally seen Mugen Train. What is your opinion on Mugen Train in 10 words or less?
It pretty. Probably not great as a movie. But more Demon Slayer, good. I think that was over 10 words.
I agree. That was definitely over 10 words with what you added on. But yes, I almost totally agree with that opinion. And I thought... So a legendary mangaka has revealed her schedule for how she makes her art and how she makes weekly manga releases. Okay, so Thomas.
So John.
I totally didn't f*** up this section and we have to do it again.
Oh, we're just gonna be honest about that. We're just gonna show our hand on that. Okay, cool, good, yeah.
Well, I hope our listeners are astute enough to realise when I have messed up, but generally,
to be fair, it happens very rarely. So.
Oh, thank you. Well, this is about legendary mangaka Rumiko Takahashi. Do you know who this woman is, Thomas?
A quick preliminary Google so that I could find out what on earth we were talking about told me that she is the mangaka for Inuyasha and Ranma 1.5. I don't know if that's how you say Ranma, but Ranma, basically, which were very popular anime
yeah.
Adaptations back in the day. before my time, at the very least. So she's something of a titan.
And she's still making weekly manga up till this day. And recently on Twitter, she shared her drawing schedule. So first, this is just her drawing schedule. Note she also writes her own manga as well. So, we'll see how that goes. But just for drawing, let's assume this starts on Monday. So, before noon, do the inking for 7 or 8 pages of character artwork. Noon, eat lunch. Do housework. 4 p.m, read. Do housework. 7 p.m, eat dinner, do housework. 9 p.m, start drawing new artwork. So she starts at 9 p.m. at night, she then goes all the way through to 9 a.m, in which she then will go to bed and have a nap. Then at noon, she'll wake up, eat lunch, and do housework. She'll then start drawing at 4 p.m, take a break to eat dinner at 7 p.m, start drawing again, and then finish working at 9 a.m. the next day.
On only 3 hours sleep?
Seemingly so.
What? How? I don't know how any human being functions on that little sleep for a full day.
I assume she's... I don't want to say just drawing, but she's sitting in a chair, so I'm not an artist in any way. I have no idea how. I can look at these hours and go, they're insane.
Like all muscle memory?
I have no idea.
It's just automated for her. She just has to sit in the seat, and then her hand does all the drawing.
It's just automatic. I wish. I hope for her sake at least. Though she then apparently that finishes all her art for a weekly manga installment.
After 2-3 days of drawing.
Yes. However, we said she also writes her stuff as well.
Yes.
So, she has a meeting on one day with her current editor talking about the manga's plot and like merchandising and stuff. That usually takes 3 to 4 hours. She'll next get started on the prelim storyboard. So these are like her like writing and arcing out like what's gonna happen, and she says she can produce about 6 of those in a day. Usually a weekly like shonen set out is about 15 pages, but she will start doing that at 11 p.m. after she finishes like having that meeting, and she'll then finish at 6 o'clock the next morning, and then I assume sleep. And then she will have another brief meeting with her editor, and that process repeats for 3 days until that is finished. And so the actual art that we talked about, like in the before bit, a single page takes her about 30-40 minutes penciling and about 20 minutes to ink the characters. And then
That's f***ing rapid.
Yeah. These pages can sometimes be ridiculously detailed. Note, she also has sets of assistants that do, like, drawing, like, the background and stuff.
I'm glad, because could you imagine how much more hours this would take if she didn't have any assistants? She just wouldn't have any time to sleep ever.
Yes, so going through all of this is apparently the initial editorial meetings is about 1 day. The storyboarding will take about 3 work days, and the art takes about 2.5 days. So that's about 6.5 days out of the week in which she's working. And if you were counting, by the way, that's still about 5.5 days with consecutive all-nighters.
And that's her full-time schedule. She's been doing that every week for however many years at this point.
Possibly since about 1978. Probably longer or not as long, depending, but...
Give or take.
That's what she says.
I don't know how any human being can function that long doing that kind of work with that little rest. I don't know how her eyes haven't just bled out of her skull and her bones haven't turned to dust at this point. That must be just, I would say exhausting, but that's like minuscule in comparison to how tired she must feel all the time.
Yeah, so apparently she does this 49 times a year.
She has 3 weeks off a year.
Yeah, and she's been doing this for about 40 years.
This is insane.
I don't know.
No human being should have to do this. And it's not like it's it's not a horror story of the manga industry any more than any other manga artist schedule is.
Notably, this is one of the most successful and most powerful mangakas in the industry.
Even she can't get a holiday.
Yeah, to an extent, she could probably set part of her own schedule at least. So just imagine those newbies, and what they have to deal with.
It's mind-boggling that any good art gets made on the schedule that manga creators have to work in. And a lot of them make really good art, but most of them not for very long, because they just can't keep up, because no human being is designed to work this long in such a short time span.
Yeah, and so we were talking about the sad death of the creator of Berserk due to a heart condition that people relate to stress. Now, Berserk is not a weekly manga. Thank God it's not a weekly manga, because otherwise he would have probably died 30 years ago.
Berserk is the least weekly of mangas. Well, it wasn't the least weekly of mangas.
But I'm thinking, just putting that into context, how much work is put into the manga industry, and just by what's not there, just how amazingly ridiculous it is, the workload is. It's insane, especially when I realize how fast I read it, because I'm a horrible person.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It takes a lot less time to read a chapter of a manga than it takes to produce it, and so in order to keep up with demand, the manga publishers demand that the artists release something every week.
Yep.
But trying to release something substantial every week is, well, it's almost a Sisyphean feat. Every week for the rest of your life. It
really, really is. I don't know how else to put that. It's absolutely insane. Can you imagine if every TV actor in the US were okay, we have to create an episode of TV every single week, and so you're reading the script and learning it 2 days of every week, and then you're acting it 3 days of every week, and you're doing that all overnight. It's insane. I think even the most boringly close concept to that might be South Park, and I don't want to compare it to it because when South Park series are on, because they take huge breaks, they tend to make them within about a week, or at least they did. I'm not sure if they still do, but to make them relevant to the time, they used to try and make them within a week, and that's a team. That's a huge team working on that. You don't have Matt Stone and Trey Parker doing the computer graphics for an episode of South Park. Though I suppose they do voice a lot of the characters. But yeah, I don't know. I hope this has kind of helped the people at home go, wow, and not just wow, just maybe that isn't good for human beings. Just maybe.
Yep. I can never take anyone's claim that they wish that a creator released more art more regularly seriously, because you can't keep a consistent quality and a rapid schedule at the same time. Most of these manga artists would make so much better work if they were just given the room to breathe. Even an extra week would be a godsend for them.
Oh, also,
between chapters.
Also they're massively underpaid as well. Massively underpaid.
Also that's part of the reason why they have to keep producing content, is because they're kept on a very thin leash, financially speaking.
Oh dear.
And also why they can't afford to hire more assistants to help keep up with the schedule. They're stuck with maybe 1 or 2 people who's working almost the same hours as them, if they're lucky.
Which is insane because it's one of like Japan's biggest cultural exports around the world.
There's enough manga out there that you could find a new one to read every week and you would never run out of manga. You don't need a new manga chapter every week in order to stay entertained. Really, if we're being honest.
Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous, but so is this show, and all ridiculous things must come to an end.
Speaking of things that comes out once a week, we only do like an hour's work for the actual recording on this.
Well,
then it's about 5 hours each way.
Behind the... whilst doing a full-time job.
Imagine what this would look like if we were doing this full-time. It would still be the same, but we'd be shinier. I'd make a really shiny video.
So shiny.
It'd have lens flare and everything.
Oh, calm down, Michael Bay. Well, if you want to hear from more of us, where can they find us, Thomas?
If you want to find us, the podcast itself is up on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and the YouTube channel, all Geeks and Gaijins. If you want to follow us on social media to see what we're up to, there's the Geeks and Gaijins Twitter, there's the Geeks and Gaijins Facebook page, there's John's Instagram page, and also John's Twitter, where he is the Gaijin John. If you are interested in us playing some video games, we will occasionally be streaming on Twitch, Geeks and Gaijins, Twitch TV, etc., etc. And I'm pretty sure that's everything we're on at the moment, apart from our email, which is geeksandgaijins@gmail.com, if you want to send us something longer that can't fit into like a YouTube comment or a Twitter DM.
Or a Facebook message. Aha. Though we're bad at replying to those. Sorry about that. But no, thank you everyone for listening, and you will hear us next week in Japan. Stars, stars, sparkly stars. Stars, stars, sparkly stars.
If you keep doing that, I'm going to make you record an actual version, and we'll put some copyright-free music behind it, and we'll make it official. So,
Stars.